Welcome to the Chamber Vibes podcast with your host, Brittany Timmons, the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce CEO and President. In this podcast, you will hear from local guests who will discuss topics such as leadership, small business, and our vibrant community. You'll also hear success stories and tips from amazing local businesses, dive into important news, meet community leaders, and find out how you can get involved in our community. From the Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful and historic downtown Guthrie, America, here is Brittany Timmons.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another episode of Chamber Vibes. It's good to be back in the studio. It's been a busy summer. So anyway, I'm excited to have my friend Caden Young here with the Guthrie Edmond Regional Airport. And we're literally hanging out on the runway. But luckily, we're not outside where it's 197 degrees on the runway.
That's right. It's the best place to be, though.
Right. I'm sure it is, but probably not in this weather if you were outside. So, but we got a cool background here of our very own airport. And so if only we were actually taking off somewhere. That would be cool.
Maybe a future podcast episode, we'll do it live from an airplane.
All right. Got that, Chris? Noted. Okay. That sounds good. All right. So you are our airport director, and you've been here a little over a year now. Yes, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I feel like that flew by.
I like what you did there.
I did. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I'm good at throwing out the puns. But truly, I mean, since I met you, I feel like, wow, it's already been a year. That's crazy. So I just wanted to take the time today to get to know you a little bit better and help Guthrie get to know you a little bit better. And then we'll talk about our amazing airport and what the future looks like there. So so where in the heck did you come from? We'll start there.
Well, so I came from Claremore, Oklahoma, but I studied at the Oklahoma State University. Okay. And then immediately after that, I went to work at Stillwater Regional Airport.
Okay. Out of college?
Right out of college.
Okay, cool.
Worked there for a little over a year. I was their security and compliance coordinator. And so what I did was, when a lot of people think of TSA, they think of the people that are checking their luggage. Right. But there's so much more that they do behind the scenes with airport security. And so
they're not just there to be mean and take people's stuff out of
their
bags. Okay, that's good to know.
There's so much more to it. And I also did their FAA compliance stuff.
Okay.
And so that was what I was initially involved in. And it was a lot of... did a lot in the airport office. Well, eventually, about 6 months in, I started to ask questions about, what's going on the airfield? What are they doing out there? What are those planes about? And so started to get more involved in that, and that's kind of where the love for, the spark for aviation really came from for me.
Okay, so it's not something you saw yourself doing in maybe junior high or high school?
Not at all.
Not at all, okay.
Not at all. And even, 50 years ago, they didn't even offer programs for airport management. A lot of airports were ran by pilots that loved the airfield, and were willing to take a job to maintain it.
Okay.
So now you can go to, a lot of different schools in Oklahoma and around the U.S. and study aviation management.
That's cool.
It's become more of a career.
For sure.
And it's needed. It's become a really complex industry. It's not what it was 50 years ago.
Right.
And so I've been fortunate enough to come over here to Guthrie. And I've enjoyed, I still have a ton to learn, but I've
Don't we all, though? If we're not always learning and growing, then we're not doing it right. So
that's right. Well,
that's how I feel.
And I've learned a lot, so it's been a good year.
Yeah, so you like being in Guthrie. And so how long were you at Stillwater?
A little over a year.
Oh, okay.
A little over a year. And so a lot of my college friends were graduating, and we were like, we need to take all these trips to different places before we all go. And we were like, we always used to go to Oklahoma City and find something to do. Well, let's stop over in Guthrie. Okay. So we were over in Guthrie, and it happened to be the 89ers Day Parade was coming up. I remember that.
So there was some stuff going on.
There was some stuff going on in town. And I was like, well, let's check out the airport, because I was really into airports. I wanted to see it. And so we went over to the airport, and I was amazed by the amount of hangars that we have. And I had no idea even how much there was until I started here.
Right.
And we have come to find out we have over 120 based aircraft on our field. And that's
crazy.
The amount of aircraft that
People
stay
have
on our
no
field.
idea. I know I didn't until I got to do chamber work and then learned a lot more about our airport. It's
right.
amazing.
It's huge. And that makes us, I think, we rotate between the 4th and 5th largest in the state in terms of the amount of aircraft that we have out there.
Very
and so
cool.
it's really incredible. It's been an incredible journey as well, just transitioning from my role at Stillwater to Guthrie.
Right.
I mean, there's a saying in airports that when you've seen one airport, you've seen one airport. And that's
right,
very
it's
true.
just not them all, because clearly all very different.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Yeah, and it was a big year last year. You know, we had a lot of change, all positive things, but new city manager. So you had a boss that was brand new, you know, as well, right? You know, of the city, and then you know, you as the airport director, and then fire chief, and so lots of changes last year.
For sure.
But it's been exciting and lots of good things happening. So.
And Eddie would not like me bragging on him, but I will take a moment and say that he's been an enormous help, and everybody in city leadership has been a huge help.
Yeah.
You know, you think you can manage an airport until you're handed an airport and you need to manage it.
Right.
And Eddie's been a huge help. He likes to say, you know, we're his first airport because he came from city of Catoosa and they didn't have one. Right. And so we're kind of
you're learning together.
We're figuring out together. Yeah. Exactly. And he's been such a critical partner in helping the airport succeed.
Well, it was no pressure having all three of you, Fire Chief Lawson, City Manager Eddie, and you, the Airport Director, all in our leadership Guthrie class.
That's right.
But it was great. It was a great way to get to know one another, and for you all, you know, to dive more into Guthrie and things like that. So especially you and Eddie being new. You know, Dane's from here, but you guys being new to the area, so.
Yeah, and from that program, it's a great program, the Leadership Guthrie program. Yeah. And I learned so much about Guthrie, and, you know, you can drive and work in Guthrie as much as you want and try to learn about the community, but I really felt when I graduated from that program that I kind of had an understanding of what industries are here, what do people like to do, what does this community value. It was a good program.
Yes,
so thank you
good
for
deal.
putting that
Well,
on.
we've got enrollment open right now, so thanks for the plug. Yes,
That's right.
Yes, it's really neat to hear people that are from Guthrie. You know, I'm a transplant myself, but that have done the program, and then they're like still mind blown at the things that they didn't know. And it's not a bad thing, you know, it's just like you said, diving more into different industry and different areas and services and programs that our community has to offer that maybe not everybody truly understands, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's good stuff. So anyway, okay, so you got a lot going on at the airport. So you've been here a year now, got a year under your belt.
That's right.
Yeah, and there were some changes that happened. Do you want to talk about that, like with Apex and some of the changes that have happened?
Yeah, so we had Glenn Crabtree was out at the airport for 49 years. He was the airport manager out there for 25 years at one point. He was the FBO manager. And so I like to tell people that aren't familiar with the term FBO, it stands for Fixed Base Operator. They're kind of like the airport's gas station. In a way. They usually sell the fuel, but they also perform a wide variety of services, like they tow aircraft. A lot of FBOs will have jets come in and they'll stock them up with food and drinks, and they really are just that service provider on the aviation side.
So that's something that, like, our airport has one FBO at a time? Is that?
We have one FBO. Okay. Larger airports would have two or three.
Okay.
They're kind of the general aviation service provider, and so Glenn Crabtree did that for 49 years out at our airport. And he was, you know, everyone that's involved in aviation in this region knows who Glenn Crabtree is because of his work in aviation maintenance, flight training, FBO, and even airport management at one point, like I mentioned. And so he retired.
Yes.
His last day was the last day of December of this last year. And that's a big change for an airport to undergo. I mean, just the amount of institutional knowledge. You know, when I first started, if there was an issue that I had, I know I could, you know, not bug him too much, but I could take 8 steps down the hallway and go ask the man who's been there for 50 years what's going on.
Exactly.
And he knew.
Right.
But I will say we have a new FBO. Their name is Apex Executive Jet Center. We had their grand opening this January, and
that was a huge turnout, but
yes,
super
it was
great
great
event because celebrated Glenn's retirement. And then the ribbon cutting and grand opening kind of all at the same time. And
yes, it was huge.
A great turnout.
And they've renovated the lobby and Hangar 2 and brought more amenities to our airport. it just looks completely different from when I started. And so we're definitely on a good trajectory with our new FBO.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome. So yeah, definitely wanted to cover that and tell everyone what an FBO is. So hopefully you learned something new there. So what, as far as our airport goes, this is something again that I've learned just being here and being with the chamber. So Guthrie Edmond Regional Airport. So what does that mean? How does that work? Obviously it's a partnership with Edmond, but kind of explain how that works.
So that's probably the most frequent question that I get, to be honest with you. In 2004, the city of Edmond was looking at building an airport, and they didn't have enough available land to construct an airfield. And it takes an incredible amount of acreage to make something like that happen. And so the city of Edmond partnered with the city of Guthrie into a joint operating agreement whereby they pay for half of our operational expenses, and they get to put their name on the airport. And so one way that that's proven to be really, really valuable is that whenever we get grant money for a project from the federal or state government, we have to come up with a local match. Well, most cities' local match is from one pocket. We're Guthrie and Edmond, so we can usually split it in half. We save on the cost, and a lot of people that use our airport are from Guthrie and Edmond. And I wanted to touch on this too at the terminal development that we're doing, is that when people fly into the airport, a lot of them are people who are looking to do business in Guthrie or Edmond. That's why I tell people all the time is that the people that are going to come and establish your next manufacturing facility, your next job growth, a lot of them aren't going to drive into your community, they're going to fly into it. And so having that for both communities, Guthrie and Edmond, is critical.
It's huge, yeah. So prior to 2004 and that partnership, it was just Guthrie?
It was just the Guthrie Municipal Airport.
Okay. And how long has Guthrie had an airport?
So it was in the mid-1940s. It used to be in a different location, but they changed it so they could have a longer runway. The runway now is 5,001 feet, but it was originally 3,000 feet. But back in the mid-1940s, it was just a grass airstrip. And the reason, air commerce came to be, just as a short little history lesson, is just that they were going to deliver the airmail routes. And so we were an emergency landing strip from Oklahoma City to Stillwater.
Okay.
And a little known fact about our airport is if you go to the beacon next to our runway, not really accessible to the public, but there's this giant concrete arrow, and it's actually pointing towards Stillwater. And it's so that pilots visually could look on the ground and see a yellow arrow and know that they need to fly in the Stillwater's direction. Still there under the beacon.
Map, see, learn something new every podcast.
Yeah.
I love that. Super cool.
It's really
a little bit of history there. Yeah. And there's some footage on the screen there. So how many flights do we see? I don't know if you want to give a weekly basis, monthly, yearly, some statistics.
I think the last statistics that they had were that we had 63 operations a day. We'll see flight students from OSU and OU's flight schools come in a lot just to get some longer routes under their belt and just get more distance for some landings. And then we have a lot of general aviation traffic. The tenants that are out at our airport, the two primary reasons they're there is typically, one is business. They're there to support the business that they own. And the second is just pure enjoyment. I mean, they own those planes to recreationally fly. And so that's the second most used type reason that we have them going on at the airport. So
that's cool. My girls like going to the Walmart parking lot for that reason.
Yes.
Especially as they were a lot younger. But if you are usually, it's depending on what time of day, but if it's, during the day, late afternoon, early evening, you can see some really cool planes coming in and out of our airport, and you get a really good shot of them right there at our Walmart.
I love that you mentioned that, because people will ask me, can I go next to the runway and watch the planes? And we have safety concerns, and I always tell them, the Walmart parking lot is the best view of the
And then if you need
airplanes.
Something, just pop in the store.
That's right.
There.
It's the best place.
Yes. And like I said, they still think it's neat, but especially when they were a lot younger, too. But I'm always fascinated by it. It's pretty cool. So, and then with that being said, I mean, obviously with Guthrie being a film hub in Oklahoma and really for the nation. There's a lot of the film industry uses the airport quite a bit.
Absolutely. This was before my time, but I've just seen photos of, I think it was Dennis Quaid's plane out of
2020 probably.
Yes, out there for the movie Reagan. Just for them to have something, and especially, when you think of those performers that have those private aircraft, they're not wanting to fly into Will Rogers Will Rogers World Airport.
A lot of people.
And security and deal with all of that. They can fly into our airport and be in and out very quickly.
Right.
And that's a big draw for them, especially. So.
On the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, there's a Kansas Jayhawk plane right there. So.
And we had Texas A&M just a few months ago fly in to watch some basketball teams in Edmond.
Yes.
So it's you never know what's going to be out there.
Right. I guess that's true. Recruiting going on with the schools and
for sure.
all of that. So yeah, as far as, actors and celebrities and things like, coming, the airport's the first thing they see, in Guthrie. So that's important. That's that front door.
First impression.
First impression.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So our airport obviously has lots going on. Like you said, stays pretty busy for a smaller, regional airport. But talk about the future. I know there's some exciting things in the works, and what all can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I can't take credit for any of the future projects we have coming up. Our predecessors left us some transformative projects in the works. The first one is, I don't know if you can see behind us, the taxiway is not fully parallel to the runway. And so this upcoming year, we're going to be making that parallel for FAA separation standards. And so that's going to be huge just for not only the safety component, but we're going to be building an apron on the south end of the runway, towards the central part of the runway on the south end. And we will be eventually putting a new terminal at the end of that apron. And so
super exciting.
And that terminal is going to be twice the size of our existing facility.
Okay.
We're going to have there it is right there.
There's a picture of the plans. Again, if you're watching on YouTube.
And we're
if you're not watching on YouTube, then if you're listening, you could go back and watch it on YouTube.
That's right. And we'll have a patio you can see there for those watching on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, that looks so inviting.
Yeah, and that's on the air side. And so people can come to the restaurant. Enid and Ponca City and Max Westheimer Airport in Norman all have restaurants. Well, Westheimer's getting a new one. And that's something that not only pilots use and utilize, of course, when they're visiting, but people from the community will go in and just use that and be able to see the planes. I cannot
wait for that.
It's going to be huge.
Timing, I know timing, changes all the time, of course, with costs and construction and things like that. So do you have an idea of what you're saying right now as far as the timing for this to be completed?
Before my time, we put in a funding request through Congresswoman Bice's office for $6 million to help fund this project. And we received $6 million, and so it will be just in the next few years.
Okay.
We're hoping. We have a lot to get done. The taxiway project, the apron.
That's happening first.
Right.
Okay.
And then so I always hate, throwing a date out there.
I know.
But
and then people are going to say, he said I felt like it was the same way with our sidewalk project. It's hard, for our construction companies or organizations to put those timelines out there because things always happen, you know, and unforeseen things. So I won't blame you there for putting an actually dead. But in the next few years, it's not super far away.
Exactly, and it's good too because we're all on a very united front that we're prepared for it, we're ready for it. We have both cities together ready to tackle these projects, so it's going to be huge. So.
Yeah. So in the meantime, what are some? I know you've got some events coming up, so I want you to talk about those and some things that you're doing to get people out to our airport.
Yeah. So we have been having a regular food truck event every other Wednesday. That's been huge for us. We've just trying to get people used to going out to the airport and eating a meal. It sounds really silly, but we're hoping to get a restaurant in a few years. We want people to know that the airport's a place they can come and
There's
do
the Chamber's very own Sam's Cheesing It Up.
That's right.
Out at the airport. They're one of our Chamber food trucks. When I say the Chamber's own, they partner with the Chamber. And so we love supporting them. I think I actually went out there that day And so, yeah, you've had a variety of food trucks. And so how long is that scheduled for the rest of the year, or what does that look like?
I think our last one is actually scheduled for the last week of July.
Okay.
But we are having one come on Friday, August 9th.
Okay.
That's going to be there for our individuals involved in our flight camp.
Okay.
So we'll be doing a summer flight camp from August 9th through 10th. And that's going to be for kids ages 8 through 12. The first day, they'll be with the Sooner Flight Academy. It pains me partnering with OU as an OSU grad.
And I'm over here like, boomer. But anyway.
But they've been a fantastic partner, and they do a lot of fun activities. Awesome. And then the second day, August 10th, the EAA will take the kids up in a discovery flight around Guthrie.
Okay, so how can people sign up their kiddos? Because I've got a 9-year-old.
They can sign up. You can email me at cyoung@cityofguthrie.com.
Okay.
You can also visit our Facebook page for more information.
Okay.
And then the next.
Does that usually fill up pretty quick?
It fills up pretty quick.
That's
There's only 20 slots available. Okay. We do have plenty of spots open now.
Okay.
And so I had someone just yesterday
Noted.
ask if it was too late, and it's absolutely not.
Okay.
So go for it.
Very cool. Is there a cost involved for that?
It's $85
Okay.
For both days.
Okay.
And so we're excited to throw it on, and that's for the Sooner Flight Academy to bring all their supplies, materials,
Sure.
and personnel costs. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like a pretty affordable, fun few days for the kiddos.
for sure.
So, yeah, so that's August 9th and 10th.
Yes.
Right? And then what else you got?
And then our big event, this is our big annual event, is the Summer Fly-In. It's going to be on Saturday, September 7th from 9 to 2. We're going to have airplane rides again with the EAA,
Okay.
And they can sign up. We'll have more information to push out on that soon. We'll have display aircraft. I'm reaching out to a few pilot groups that will be bringing some pretty cool planes back to the airport. I'm hoping to get a diverse amount of aircraft that people from the community and surrounding region can come in and see, and food trucks as well. So we have a lot going on. This will be my first fly-in myself at the airport, and so it'll be a time. So I'm ready for it.
And that's an annual thing that the airport does.
Yes, we didn't do it last year because I was so
I don't
green.
remember this one in the fall.
I was so new, but we're gonna go for it this year.
Yes, and then after that, looking later in the year, we have the big Santa fly-in.
Yes.
I don't know if you have a date for that yet, and that's okay if you don't. But
no date for that yet.
Christmas will be here before we know it.
Hopefully we'll have a chamber coffee again. That was great last year that we had. But we'll have a Santa fly-in. Santa will fly in, and we'll have free hot chocolate from Rick's Chocolates and Coffee.
There's a photo right there of Santa sitting in front of the plane, and that's so fun that you guys do. And that's a free event, and the kids wait in line to see Santa. And I know me and my girls actually got a photo with Santa back in December, and it's a fun photo with the plane in the background. So,
and I want to thank our board chairman and vice mayor Grant Aguirre for flying Santa in. He had the very important task this year, making sure that Santa made it onto the runway safely, and we got him in.
And that's a busy time of year for Santa. So for him to make it in on time and spend some time in Guthrie, it was a big privilege. Deal. It's a privilege for sure. So yes, there's another photo up there on the screen.
Yep, and that's Grant and Mr. Glenn Crabtree himself.
Yep.
And so he's always still at the airport running around.
He is.
And so I say
it's probably hard for him to break away. I mean, in a good way, that's when you've been doing that for so long. That's second home.
Yes, and I mean, you can tell when anyone speaks to him, you can tell that it's just his passion. Yeah, and his passion is aviation.
That's good that you still have him around too,
absolutely.
Just in case.
Absolutely.
You'd ask him a question. I'm sure he doesn't mind that.
Oh no.
So, so lots of exciting things happening, and so what are ways? I mean, the community can get involved. Obviously, supporting the events. Is there anything else that we can help with?
I would say volunteering at the fly-in. We'll need. I'm not sure how many volunteers we'll need at the moment, but I'm sure at some point we'll be asking for some volunteers. We also have a airport newsletter that comes out monthly that I started just as a way, because there's so much going on out at that airport. And I mean, we have a business that is developing the composite parts for, have you ever seen those Red Bull commercials where the plane's doing the crazy maneuvers? Those composite parts are made right here in Guthrie.
Wow.
And so there's so much going on. We were flight schools coming in, a lot of development that we talked about. And so that's a good way to get involved too, and just stay up to date on what's happening at the airport.
Yeah. So besides Apex, what other businesses are located at the airport?
So there's Blue Skies Flight School. There's Bucks Flight Academy, which is another flight school. We have an aircraft maintenance shop, and we're about to get actually another flight school and an avionics shop.
Oh, wow.
That the FBO is helping to bring in as well. And so we're staying busy. I regularly talk to the owner of Blue Skies Flight School, and he is absolutely booked. I mean, there's so many people interested in getting their private pilot's license right now.
And you can start doing that pretty young, right?
Yes, you can start. I'm pretty sure you can start at 16 and solo at 17. I might have those dates off.
I actually have a friend, I think on Facebook, I think it's a friend from college, and they're in Texas, but her daughter's like 16 or 17, and she's working on going to flight school. And
It's crazy.
Like, your 16-year-old daughter's flying a plane. That's crazy and cool at the same time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And so they can do that right here in Guthrie.
They can do that right here in Guthrie. Absolutely.
If they can get in, because they're booked right now.
Well, we'll have more schools coming too.
Yes.
And
yes. So we'll have 3 schools.
3 flight schools.
Wow. That's amazing. Very cool. Well, I learned a lot today. Is there anything else you want to add?
Just thank you for having me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And the Chamber's been such a huge help to the airport, just even helping me get, acclimated to the community, but also just helping us with resources and stuff. It's
awesome.
been
We're happy to do that. Happy to partner with you all in any way that we can. And we have a gym right here in our community. And so fun to highlight that. And hopefully people watching or listening also learn some new things today about the airport. But you're doing a great job.
Thank
We're
you.
very happy to have you. And so just keep on doing what you're doing, and we're excited for the future of the airport.
Thank you.
So,
I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for having
you're
me.
welcome. All right, I think that's it. So definitely check out those events. Follow their Facebook page for more information on all of those events coming up later this summer and fall. And we hope to see you out at the airport at some time. So we will catch you next time on another episode of Chamber Vibes. Have a good one.
Thanks for listening to the Chamber Vibes podcast from Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful downtown Guthrie, America. Be sure and check out a new episode every other Monday. And until then, remember to choose Guthrie.